Welcome back to Beyond the Helmet. I'm your host, Steve McGrath, and in this episode, I am pleased to bring you Larrell Murchison. Now, Larrell just got drafted to the Tennessee Titans. He's about to start his NFL career, and he took the time to talk to me about a week before the drafts, telling me everything that was going through his head. And if you didn't know, he tore it up at NC State his senior year, and even his junior year after he redshirted 2 years of community college. But I'm going to let Larrell tell you his story, how he went from just a kid at JUCO to being drafted in the NFL. But before we get to that, of course, I need to remind you all that we're brought to you by Team Builder. Team Builder works with over 500 high schools nationwide and the NFL. So if you need to brush up on that weightlifting program, go to teambuilder.com, use the promo code VICTORY, VIQTORY, and you're going to get a free gift. So show them some love. But for now, check out Larrell Murchison, the brand new Tennessee Titan. I am pleased to be joined by Larrell Murchison. Man, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, we are just about like a week out now from something I can imagine you've been thinking about for a very long time. How you feeling today? What's going through your head as this gets so close?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm really excited about what's going on. Just ready to see what happens, man. I know God got it all in his hands, so I'm not stressing about anything. I'm just waiting till that day.
So every time, you find out that there's another team that wants, FaceTime or Skype or Zoom call with you, uh, do the butterflies act up a little bit? I mean, how do you just deal with the roller coaster of just trying to, figure out and move through these teams, trying to pick your brain a little bit?
Yeah, I would say not really butterflies, but I get excited. And it's good to hear from different coaches and good to talk to them and let them know about me. So, that's my biggest thing. I always get excited getting to talk ball with anybody, of that sort. So, I'm just thankful for it all.
Now, do you read into it like, oh man, well, if this team called me, then they must be really interested? I mean, do you? Because I feel like I grew up in New England, right? So like the Patriots were notorious for like talking to guys that like they wouldn't draft, or vice versa. There are teams that like if they're going to reach out to you, they might be really interested. Do you try to like not think too much about where you might end up?
Nah, I think about it. I do think about it a little bit, just to know like day by day. But for the most part, I'm taking it day by day.
So
One
you're
day at
not
a
with all the spare time that we have in the social distancing, you're not looking at too many mock drafts. And I hope you're not listening to all the critics out there that say, well, he has to do this, or he does this well, or, he needs to improve there.
Nah, I'm not taking any of that too seriously. I'm just, anything that somebody tells me I need to get better on, I try to work on it. But as far as mock drafts, I'm not taking any of them seriously because, this thing can go a whole nother direction. You never know what's what. You can go earlier, you can go later, you just don't know. So, I'm just trying to keep my head forward.
Right. But do you know what you're going to be doing, come this time next week or heading into next weekend?
And then next weekend, I'll be with family for sure. I'll be all around family and we'll just be waiting.
And that's all of us, it feels like we're doing right now, is just waiting. But I'm sure it's going to be a real special time, you hanging out with your family, waiting for that call.
Oh, yeah.
And do you have any preference on who makes that call? Any teams?
No. Any team in the NFL.
Well, can you just talk a little bit about what the last couple months have been like? Just this run up, right? I mean, you end your, career at NC State, but then there's the Senior Bowl, then there's the Combine. How much has just, once what you were used to ended and you started this stuff where the spotlight's on you now, not the team. What's been the whole whirlwind like, just having, trying to navigate all this?
Well, it's been a lot different, as far as training and everything. I would have been at NC State after, because I trained in Texas at Exos before Combine. After the Combine, I was going to just be training at NC State, just staying in shape and doing, just staying in shape, basically. So, not being able to do that is a lot different. But, however, me and my mom, we go get it done in the mornings. We go run, we go do what we got to do in the mornings and, have the rest of the day free. So we still get to working for sure.
You said that you and your mom go on a run in the morning?
Oh, yeah, every morning.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been doing that?
Ever since I got back down here. So when I came down from NC State, it's probably been about 3 weeks so far. So just straight 3 weeks of running.
So if mom can keep up with future NFL players, you must be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, she's getting there day by day. She takes more steps, and I'm really proud of her for staying on this path of just getting up every morning and walking, because she always wanted to walk and just stay in shape. So now she's getting to do it, and we're having fun with it. So
That's awesome, man. Um, I did want to just back this up a little bit because, for us to have this conversation, right? At one point, you were just a high school kid that I'm sure wanted to play football, but can you just talk us back when you're tearing it up as a fullback and a defensive end, back at, what was it, Javier East Blade in high school?
oh yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot different, like at fullback, man. You getting hit every play. I like the contact, but carrying the ball and it's just playing both sides of the ball. It was a lot different. It was fun, but I mean, life was a lot different. When was this? Was like 6 years ago. Seems like, good gracious, that doesn't even sound right saying.
Was it hard to give up touching the ball though? Did you have any reservations about jumping over to D line?
No, no. As soon as my junior college coach asked me what position I wanted to play, I immediately said defensive line. Like, that's where I love it at. That's where I feel great at. So,
But the second you had the pick against Florida State, though, all of a sudden it was coming back to you real quick.
man, I wish I would have kept my feet so I could just show some of the moves I had.
Well, so you already mentioned that when you got to community college, you had to pick, what position. How did you end up going to Lewisburg? I mean, what was the path to get there? I'm sure you wanted to play at the next level, but how did you ultimately end up there? Were teams recruiting you?
Well, okay, so D2 teams were recruiting us because our grades were good. They were okay. They were fair, but the SAT score, we didn't take it until our senior years, and we didn't really do too well on it. So it's not that we did bad; we just didn't do high enough. So, Winston State offered us, and we took it. We signed the full scholarship there. However, we couldn't get in because of our SAT scores. And Lewisburg College was one of the first schools to reach out. So, they're like, Coach Tober, he was like, we're sorry that you couldn't get into Winston-Salem State, but hopefully we can put you in a better situation. So, those words right there were big to me, and we trusted it, and, ended up in a great position.
Sure. So, academically, they were able to help get you going. So that was a big part of it for you, was getting someone that football wise you'd be able to get on the right track, but also academically be able to help, get you, squared away and, ready for the next step.
Exactly.
So, you play two positions in high school, which of course a lot of big time football players do. But when you make the decision to go full time defensive line, 2015, of course, you play there, but 2016, I mean, you work your way up into being a nationally ranked JUCO prospect. I mean, someone that's pretty much I think it was an honorable mention All-American.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
How did you elevate your game while you were there? What was it about what you did to get yourself better?
Man, honestly, it was hard working, just getting older, getting the game to slow down to me, and just realizing, like, this is all this is what I came here for. I'm locking all the way in. So, once I did that, I learned a lot more. Being around my teammates, getting more chemistry around, and loving being there. I loved it. Having fun. Everybody felt like family. I just elevated my game that way.
All right. So you got to tell me though, how does the road to NC State come? At what point is Coach Doran talking to you? What other offers were even on the table for you?
Well, my first offer ever, Coach Freeze offered me at Ole Miss. I remember getting a call and going home and crying all the way home. Just happy because JUCO Lewisburg is, nobody ever knew about Lewisburg. So you just in a situation where you betting on yourself and you trusting God. So doing all that, I knew I was going to end up in good hands. So, they offered me. Then the next offer, University of Texas. And then I had a UGA. Then originally, I was going to go – I committed to Ole Miss first. And then I went to UGA. I committed to UGA. UGA oversigned. They had a full class. So I was going to go back to Ole Miss after that. But then Coach Doran called me out of nowhere. He was just like, we got a scholarship for you. And I was like, okay, that night before Sunday, I was like, okay, I was kind of taking this consideration, but then I was like, okay, I went to sleep on it, and I was like, I woke up like, I'm going to Ole Miss. I already told the coaches and everything. So woke up, called early. Coach Doran called early. He said, look, you don't even got to don't have to rush anything. Just wait it out. So he said that. That made me really realize, like, he's right. It's a 3-year decision, 2 to 3 year decision. So, make the best decision. You don't have to rush anything. So once he said that, I knew that they were all in with me. So, that I made that choice that same day and signed NC State and never looked back.
So for you, it didn't have a whole lot to do with them being geographically closer to home. It was really coach made you feel at ease about the decision, and because he didn't really apply so much pressure to you, you kind of were turned on to his approach, and then you start to really think about it, and then maybe you think, oh well, it is closer to home, but it was really how he talked to you and helped you work through the process that's what really makes the path for you to get to NC State happen.
Yeah, it was. I would say definitely being close to home, so my family could see me play. I think that was a big role in it also. But the way Coach Doran approached it and the way they made me feel, I felt like family over the phone before even meeting them. To be honest, like it felt great. So I felt like this was the right choice and only choice for me. So I'm glad I made it.
So do you ever take the time to think like, wow, what would have happened if I, did go to Georgia? Would I still be here? I mean, there's so many what if scenarios that you can, what if I did go to Ole Miss? I mean, there was it seems like for a second there, I mean, talk about a big moment, right? To actually make that call could have gone a bunch of different ways.
All right, it could have went a bunch of different ways, and I'm so glad, I ended up in the right situation.
So when you get there though, do you know you're going to redshirt right away? I mean, how do you actually learn that?
Well, I came in 264. I played D tackle, so you can't be 264 playing D tackle. So right away I knew I had to gain weight. I gained a little bit of weight during that summer. But my technique wise, I wasn't there. I just doing JUCO. We didn't do much drills. We were just playing raw. It was like I was a raw player. So I figured I was gonna have to red shirt, and I had no problem with that. Grinding and working hard. That's where I come from. So honestly, I took it. I took it to the 10, and I was like, you know what? I'm a red shirt and do the best I can.
Yeah. Do you recall anything in particular that year about how you were able to work on your craft? Any certain drills or things that you did? Because I mean, the following year, I mean, right off the gate, right? Your first time playing, D1 football, you've worked at this. You just sat out a year. It's the what is it, Alpha Wolf Rising for most improved player for your first year playing there, and then also the Kerry Brubaker Award for best defensive lineman. I mean, your first year on the field there, you tear it up. So, what did you do that redshirt year to make that all come together?
Man, grind it out with my brothers. Like, we were going through the same thing. Everybody who redshirted that year, we felt like we had a lot of pressure on us. We felt like, we were being pushed. So we used that, and I used that to kind of catapult me into saying to myself, like, this is it, or it's time to play hard and put it all in. And once I did that, doing these drills, we used to go to Murchison late night when nobody was there, like 8, 9 o'clock at night, watch film. We'd go do drills together. I mean, we do everything together. We do everything together at night, and while nobody was there, while nobody was looking. So all those times, it paid off.
Got it. That 2018 though, you guys were great. I mean, NC State is a very good program and had been really, an 8-9 win program year in and year out. When guys like Ryan Finley, Jacoby Myers, even Kelvin Harmon, when offense loses firepower, right? Sometimes it might be a little hard to reload. What was it like for you guys as a team to weather a year in 2019 that I'm sure just was less than what you guys expected? Because I'm sure that's hard, right? When you're used to that level that's up here, and when something doesn't meet that expectation, you're kind of like, well, what just happened? How do we get back on the right track? What was the whole year like for you?
I mean, it was difficult, but Coach Thunder and the rest of the coaches, and that I speak to, that I go to up there, like Mr. Bird, they always let you know, like, you got to keep the same attitude. If I'm a leader on the team, if I come in mad and down about our losing season, how's everybody else supposed to act? So I had to be the positive. I had to be one of the positive ones in the building. Just keep the same attitude and just go back to work. So of course it was a tough season, but you got to take it one game at a time, honestly, no matter what.
So next year, though, you think they're right back to another 8-win, 9-win year?
Absolutely. They're working hard, man. That's all we do up there. So I know for a fact, man, it's gonna be better than it was last year for sure.
Got it. And So while the team success might not have been what you guys had hoped for or put in the time for, you personally, I mean, you see a big jump, right? I mean, you go from winning all those awards your first year to now you're second team All CC. You have a 3.5 sack game against FSU. You just feasted on the Seminoles your entire career. It must have been fun. But you know, uh, what did you see? Was it just comfort level of getting a year under your belt for you to tear it up, like to continue to raise your game year after year?
It was like I would say is maturing, in the defense, learning defense a lot more, getting more comfortable, not really comfortable, but getting just feeling more complete in the defense. Feeling like I don't know, like the game was slowing down to me, I felt like. And just taking that and just growing. If you look at my whole career from high school throughout, you see each year I make a jump. Each year I make a jump. So like you said, freshman year of college, had such and such tackles for loss and, such and such tackles and all that. The next year, honorable mention, All-American. The next year, the redshirt year, D1, right? 2018, had a productive year. 2019 had a more productive year. My game jumps every year, and I'm blessed for that. And that's what I tell the NFL coaches. If you look at my game, I improve every year. So that's what kind of player I am. I'm not going to stay the same. I'm going to always work to get better. So.
Yeah, just one of those guys that shamelessly plug the victory sign behind me. Your football IQ is growing year in and year out, and because you're making those big, because it sounds like what you're saying is that you're feeling more comfortable, you're getting more reps, you're learning the defense better, you're just getting more underneath you, and that's allowing you to do more, just getting that level. So it's definitely like a rising stock, someone that is continuing to improve it. I'm sure it's an easy sell anytime you're talking to an NFL coach or GM.
Yeah, man. I mean, I try to sell that because the film doesn't lie. The stats don't lie. Stats don't mean anything. It's about the film. You can go check the film and see how aggressive I play and see I'm gonna chase the ball.
So, and just watching some of that film, right? Like your motor, guy that can penetrate upfield, just this relentless attitude. I mean, how did you build that style? What do you attribute that to?
I mean, shoot. I mean, I could say, well, my coaches did a good job. My D-line coach, Kevin Patrick, he did a great job of just bamming that in my head that get to the ball, be aggressive. This right here, get up the field. Different stuff like that. And then you could take it back to where I grew up at. My dad worked extremely hard. He won't stop doing the job until it's done like he wanted and it looks great. So, if I'm doing something, I'm going to make sure I finish it and I'm make sure it looks great. And I'm make sure I'm doing my job to the best of my ability. So.
Got it. Now, just jumping, actually, you know just speaking of that, did you model your game after anyone? Like, did you watch certain NFL players, be like, you know what, that's the type of style, or you know what, I love, this guy's spin move, this guy's rip move. How did you, or did you look at guys at the highest level to try to like model your game after them?
Uh, of course, everybody models their game after. A lot of people model their game after Aaron Donald, but I wouldn't say I definitely would say I try to take some things from him, but I also looked at Justin Jones. He graduated. He came from NC State in the 2017 with that big D line class. He played his three technique, and I would say that me and Grant Gibson, we watch this film every day. Flatback striking, the different things that he was able to do on that front were great. And I can definitely say that's one player I took from. I took a lot of things out of his arsenal when I started, being able to do them and just follow him and follow his lead. So I'll say I follow him. BJ Hill is another stud that was in the middle that I followed, and those guys don't know it, but I definitely looked after them and just looked at their film and try to imitate a lot of things that they've done. So.
Oh, it's awesome. Now, because you mentioned three technique, and obviously it seems to anyway be able to play three technique, technique. You're not this is what this guy is. You're one of those guys where it's like maybe a team looks at you and says, "Oh, well, we can see him here because we think he can grow into this role." Did you have any preference on what that position on the D line would be for you? Do you have an ideal situation or spot there?
Three technique. I fell in love with the three technique, and I feel like I'd be a great three technique. But if they want to put me at five technique, 0-1, it doesn't matter. I'm ready to just play.
Hey, like, how much is that check for? Oh, okay, yes, whatever you need, I'm your guy.
Oh man, yeah, all the way, man. I'm ready to play, man.
Um, All right. So, lastly, just as we get towards wrapping this up, um, going through this weird social distancing time where I'm sure you were a little thrown off because it just didn't go how it normally goes. I mean, did you have any advice for maybe any other athlete out there that's trying to train and is sort of dealing with this stuff about how you've coped with this weird period in your life where you're not able to get into your routine and do what you would normally be doing? How do you just stay ready?
I mean, just training where I can, doing what I can, and just staying positive. It's easy to be negative and just complain, but don't complain, and just stay positive and do what you can.
Got it. Fair enough. Well, Larrell, before I let you off the hook here, I got to make you go through the gauntlet. I got a couple quick hitter questions for you that I need your knee jerk answer on.
Okay.
What's most important? Is it having the number one offense or the number one defense?
Number one defense.
All right. Pre-game ritual that you stuck to.
Pre-game ritual that I stuck to. Always going to the field earlier and doing the same drills. And my food on game day, filling up my plate with all my favorites and make sure I eat the whole plate.
What's the food though?
What is it? It's like flank steak. It's flank steak, spaghetti, and bread.
All
And
right.
listening to the Drip Season 3 album.
All right. There you have it. No, favorite football memory to date?
Favorite football memory to date. Well, let's take it back to UVA on my first 3-sack game. I felt great afterwards, and we got the win. So that's my favorite football memory.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I mentioned FSU earlier, and of course you had the UVA game. When something like that happens, how much of that is you getting inside the offensive line's head? Because do you? It just has to be so demoralizing when you keep beating this guy. I mean, how does that snowball? Do you feel it in the moment? Like, I got this guy beat. I got him the rest of the game.
More than likely, like I take it one play at a time. So I can probably look at the offensive lineman and picture what I'm doing in my head and just see how he's looking and be like, okay, I got it this time. I can say that, but I don't know. Maybe sometimes I do think I'm demoralizing the lineman and I probably get in their head and I'll see it, but most of the time I'm next play mentality.
All right. Now, have you thought about what that first sack celebration is going to be in the NFL?
Not yet. I don't know if I'm gonna have to change it up a little bit or keep it the same. I gotta think about
that. All right. Well, lastly, and I think it's most important, man, just given everything you've been able to accomplish, getting better and better each year, about to hit the NFL, what's the best piece of advice that you'd give to a young athlete?
Keep grinding. Don't think about where you are now. Just always work to get better.
There it is, from someone that does it year in and year out. Well, Larrell, like we said, next week is a very big week for you. I wish you the best of luck as you're about to start the NFL journey for real. And I hope we can do this again in the future. You can check in and let us know how the rookie season went.
Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man.